today's focus is going to be kind of like sustainable construction with Revit and Forma. So for some of you probably are wondering, well, what is Forma, right? But I also want to mention that it could be considered a new offering, but it has been around almost for 2 years now, right? So it's continue on development, it's providing great tools, and the AI industry is right there. So every time Autodesk and the developers are pushing forward with this type of tools, right? Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Forma, so is this cloud-based tool, right? Uh, Specifically for early stage planning and design for our buildings, right? And something that I find quite interesting is for urban development, right? So we are getting to this point with everything is surrounded by buildings, right? And we actually don't want to make sure that that is what is happening, right? We need to make sure that we have enough landscaping, enough nice areas for people to go around. And that is kind of like one of the things that we are focusing when it comes to sustainability, right? So this is going to help architects and planners to analyze the site conditions, test some of their design concepts, right? And what is going to be more important, make data driven decisions, right? So the data is right there. So when we are analyzing our building and our site, we're going to be able to see that. Now, on the screen right here, I just have a couple of the tools that you're going to be able to use and analyze when using Forma, right? So just a couple of things such as the microclimate around your model, right? Combines the data of the sun exposure, the wind patterns, uh, you're going to be able to identify weather conditions and generate kind of like a comprehensive map showing you the temperatures, right? And as well see kind of like the impact that you're going to have on your site, right? Noise analysis that is going to assess and mitigate those acoustic impacts during the early design phase, right? So you need to be when working on your projects, have that in mind, right? You're going to be an impact to your neighbors around, right? And to the people that is getting across the area near your building. The solar energy analysis is going to be a tool that estimate the building solar potential, right? So from your early design phase, you're going to be able to notice the impact of the sun, right? It's a feature that is going to help with roofs, facades, right? Where is going to be the area that receive the most solar radiation, right? And you can estimate as well the potential electricity generation from solar panels, right? You know that the technology is right there, so you can take advantage of some of these tools to start at your early design. And last but not least, one of the ones that I want to mention as well is going to be the wind analysis tool, right? Is going to assess the airflow and wind conditions around the building, right? Which is going to help your design influence, right? When it comes to wind patterns and pedestrian comfort. Uh, this is kind of like crucial to optimize your building orientation, your outdoor spaces, and at the end, your energy efficiency. Now, where you can find Forma. So this is going to be part of your AEC collection. Once again, I would like to mention this is a cloud-based product, right? So when you go to your manage account, right, you're going to access with your credentials, products and services. Notice that you're not going to have a download option per se, right? But you're going to have an access link. And once you click on that access link, the first time that you access is going to allow you to create your own hub, right? Unless someone else in your organization has created one. In that case, it's going to ask you for permissions, right? Once you launch the hub right here, you can see an example of one of our colleagues. You're going to be able to see your company name, right? You're going to be able to see your projects. You're going to be able to see your members. And from a member perspective, what you're going to be able to do is control the permissions, right? So is this going to be an admin? Is this going to be a collaborator? Is this going to be a viewer? Which could potentially lead to you share this type of information with your consultants, right? You can share this information with your client, which is really cool because now you see most of softwares are available from a cloud-based perspective, meaning that you can access from your tablets, right, at the job site, and quickly see all the information that is provided in the project. Now, once a new project is created, something cool that you're going to be able to see or select is your geographic location, right? And this is important for the reason that later we are going to take this into Revit, right? And that geographic location as well is going to give us some really nice tools, such as allowing us to download important data for the project and as well define the boundaries of our site, right? By defining those boundaries of our site, we can potentially start including the buildings around, right? The terrain, the roads, the property boundaries, right? And this is going to be super helpful on those really dense areas. Specifically, on the states, we are going to find this data available. Probably if you're at other location on the globe, you're going to notice that some of these are going to be limited, but all that information you can import and is going to give you some really nice detail when it comes to creating your projects, right? As a result of adding the data, what I'm showing right here is that you can control kind of like the looks, something fairly basic, right? Similar when you go to Google Maps and change from the site to the street to the realistic, right? But you can see right there, I'm going to have the buildings around kind of like my job site. The tool is going to be really plastic, which allow us to create mass elements as well if you don't have them available. So you can kind of like play around and build your extension buildings, right? So everything is possible from the platform, adding all those additional tools. And from right here, you are kind of like even ready to start running your analysis. But something that is important, and this is what you're here, the idea is to take this to Revit, right? So what I want you to notice is that in Forma, we are creating proposals, right? So the proposals are going to be able to define, for example, our buildings, the property boundaries, and we can decide to turn on, turn this off, right? But once we are ready, we're going to go to the three dots, right? Similar in every Autodesk fashion product. And we have the option to send it to Revit. It's always recommended to first download the add-in before you export or send this file to Revit. And that way you're going to guarantee that you can open up the file at the end, right? So this is only going to happen once. You need to go ahead and download the add-in and then send your proposal to Revit. Now you're going to notice right here, it's going to give you a prompt letting you know that the file has been sent. Once in Revit, you're going to start a new project, right? And followed by that, you're going to go to your Massen Inside and notice you're going to have an option, right, to load up the proposal. As well, you have some loading options, which are going to allow you to define, for example, the elements that you're creating, such as define those elements that you're importing. Do you want to create walls, floors, and roof for those buildings, right? Do you want to create rooms for those? Convert those conceptual masses, right, from the 3D sketches, and as well the data that comes from the context, right? And that data is what we load, right? So just the terrain, the topo surfaces, right? So all that information are going to be able to load. Once it's loaded in your Revit, what you're going to notice is that automatically is going to bring up the proposal. And what is great about that proposal is that you can see high level of detail on the information that you're bringing. right? Including as well topo surfaces. And if you're familiar with the latest releases of Revit, every time we are getting more advanced tools when it comes to work with topo solids, right? Be able to control your terrain a little bit better, right? And another great thing is that it's fairly specific when it comes to your coordinates, right? So your location for latitude and longitude, which later can impact your analysis that you create within Revit on your analysis tab, or then later send it back to format, right? So really, really great thing. That the add-in, as you can see, is fairly simple. So just a couple of tabs, load options, and load proposal, right? Now, in Revit, you can go ahead and start taking a look at the site, right? You're going to prepare your views and all that stuff and start creating something basic, right? It could be your early design stage. For that, we typically recommend make use of your mass and insight tools, right? So show the masses, place basic constructions, right? On this example, as you can see, it's a simple building, just super simplistic, a couple of walls, floors, right? And remember, this is going to be bidirectional, which means that once you're set right here with your Revit, you're ready to update the proposal. So this is going to be sent back to Forma, right? And you're going to get your dialog box letting you know that it was successfully imported, right? Or the data was sent. Once you're back in Forma, you can just simply refresh your site and just give it a couple of seconds or even a minute, but you are going to see your building, right? Once you're here, the tools are going to prompt at the right side of your screen. So they are really straightforward. We don't need to be kind of like sustainable experts to use some of the tools. You're going to notice right here some of the icons as well are straight to the tool that you want to use. So a wind analysis, right? Energy analysis. So really, really cool things that you're going to be able to load and use, right? Now, something that I would like to bring to your attention, it is going to be important when working between Forma and Revit. Now, from Revit to Forma, I can make as many updates as I want, right? So for example, I go back to this building, right, and add an extension and add a secondary building, and I extend the elevation. I make the building higher, right? I can send the update, right? So everything is going to go right here, straight to the building. But what is going to happen if I make major changes or updates to the proposal? In that case, what is recommended is create a new proposal, right? So you can create a new proposal. That way, when you send it to Revit, you're going to be able to as well add or create your new building and continue with your analysis, right? So remember, from Revit to Forma, as many updates as you want. But if you're having major inputs on your site, on your masses and all that, what is recommended is to create a different proposal. Now, we mentioned at the start of the session that this is early design stage to later your uh, create your buildings, right? What is going to be something to remember is that there are going to be some certifications that sometimes are going to require your input, right? So what is the type of analysis that you're doing on that early design stage? And you don't need to be kind of like a sustainable expert, right? Right here, you're going to be able to follow up some of the tools that the software provides us, right? And you can see that it's fairly interactive, giving us really nice and clean level of details that later we can use this to uh, take really nice informed decisions when building our projects. Alrighty, but that is everything that I have for you guys today.